Okay, ready? Hi! Sorry. My name is Cienna and I'm an illustrator based in New York City. Today I wanted to go through a few easy tips that help me along with my painting process. This is the Wacom One tablet that I use. Very easy to use. It's got these two adjustable little stands in the back and its size allows it to be very portable.
This is my workspace. I have a small mirror and a desk light handy for quick lighting and facial feature reference. It can definitely be a big help when I start a piece to be able to quickly determine what something, like for example a hand, should look like with certain lighting. So in order to start one of my illustrations, I usually take a little bit of an atypical approach. Generally speaking, I like to focus on the color and the mood before going in on the line art. So I make these sort of exploratory, focused on the lighting, the mood, and the basic color scheme of a piece. These are called color thumbs. There are two types of color schemes that I tend to keep in mind as a general rule of thumb before I start on an illustration. So, for example, some of my pieces have complementary color schemes which explore two colors that are opposite from each other on the color wheel, or an analogous color scheme, which is a color scheme made up of colors that are generally located near each other on the color wheel. I tend to use them sort of loosely, and I also tend to skew more towards the cooler side of the color wheel. So here is my color thumb for this particular piece. I went with more of an analogous color scheme. I chose purple because I wanted this piece to feel sort of regal and have this space cosmic sort of theme. The inspiration for this piece loosely centers around Greek mythology, particularly the goddess Hecate. After making a satisfying enough color rough, I go in and usually make a cleanup sketch, then I move on to rendering. So this part is going to be more of a speed paint, although I will offer a few tips as it progresses due to the fact that I lost some bits of the speed paint. The first thing that I want to draw attention to is the layers that I use. Typically, I keep them organized and well labeled. After starting with the final line art, I'll do a series of flat shapes for different items underneath and use clipping masks to paint on top of the flat shapes. Another thing that I do want to draw attention to is while I render faces, I also tend to occasionally flip the canvas horizontally, so it's easier to catch mistakes or areas that look unbalanced. When painting effects, I tend to kind of go at it organically until something sort of clicks or works. It's all very intuitive. With rainbows, most of them are various colors blended and made to look like they're glowing with a few soft light adjustment layers. Fire is very similar. I paint a few organic shapes and then add a few adjustment layers until it looks right. For the finishing touches, I'll add one or two adjustment layers to unify the colors in the piece. In this particular case, I use blue to cool the painting down a bit and ensure that the colors are interacting nicely. I'll also press Ctrl Y or go to View, Proof Colors, and select Dot Grain 20% to view the piece in black and white, and toggle back and forth by pressing Ctrl Y. This helps me check on the values and make sure that there's enough contrast in the piece before declaring it finished. This is how the final version turned out. Thank you so much for following along, and I hope that these tips will help make your digital painting process a bit smoother as well.